Hi, I'm Harris. I'm a real estate broker in Vancouver, Washington. I've been doing it since '04 and run a small elite team, and we love having fun with real estate.
Hi, my name's Carly Bordak, and I am the owner of Carly Bordak Real Estate with Keller Williams. I have been in the business since 2014, and I have a buyer's agent that works alongside me.
My name is Amy Azevedo. I have the Azevedo Real Estate team, and we're in Portland, Vancouver, and Central Oregon. And I started out in 2002, just myself, and very gradually grew to a team of roughly 18, including agents, stagers, runners, TCs, all that fun stuff.
Hello, my name is Ben Andrews. I'm a realtor in the Portland, Oregon market, and I have a team of 4, and we are with Keller Williams, and our team name is called Andrews and Company.
Hey guys, I'm Santino and I own Modern Realty, and we're located in the Portland metro area as well as Southwest Washington, and we have a team of about, or a brokerage of about 30 plus agents, not including staff and transaction coordinators.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Smith. I am a local realtor here in Vancouver, Washington. I run the Ben Kinney Real Estate team. I started in 2015. It was my first full year in the business. I sold 52 homes my first year, have been growing my team ever since, and on our best year, we've sold just under $4 million in commissions, and that for us was about 325 units.
How do you manage your mindset through the highs and lows?
Real estate's a tricky business, so I think it can mess with your head. I think when your clients are going through all the highs, you're riding high and having fun. When they're going through tough times, you're kind of feeling it too. So I think have your objective of what you're trying to do in the business, which is create good service, create good results, and then surround yourself with good people too. So you have to have mentors and peers that are of positive mindset that help you, that believe in what you're doing, they can help back, and I think that kind of helps you be on top of the game and just maintain that good headspace.
Optimal mindset and motivation, I think they kind of go hand in hand. So I don't always, I think it's easy to get caught up in, this big, I own this business, I do this, this, and this, but really it's okay to have those, lazy days where you just want to sit on the floor and play Legos with your kids, and drink coffee in your pajamas. So I think it's important to remember that outside of this business you have, it's okay to also have life, as long as you don't stay in the drenches of, oh, there's not enough business, the day's bad, and so forth. So I always try to drink coffee and pray and have gratitude for all of the things I do have, even if that doesn't mean that I have 3 listing appointments that week.
How do you manage between personal and professional goals?
Having professional goals and personal goals is hard because my professional goals often outweigh my personal goals, which cuts into my family time. But having good dialogue with my family, with my wife specifically, making sure that we're all on the same page. What is the ends to these means? Why do we want to do this? Is this a Ben Andrews Eagle project, or is this an actual something that's going to benefit our family? Is this going to benefit our friends and family? And then with professional goals, those come back to the personal goals. What are we doing in our business that is going to come back with our family so that we are living a very balanced life? I don't miss my son leaving home for school in the morning. I don't miss him when he comes home.
How do you balance between short-term gains and long-term growth?
Yeah, great question. I think for short-term gains, everybody always needs business now, and that's never going to change. So I think as long as real estate broker or business owner is focused on the big picture, which is build good clientele, provide good service, do all the fundamentals, like what people call basics, do those action steps, that pipeline of incoming transactions will keep funneling, and I think that'll just kind of take care of itself.
If you were to restart today, what would your first actions be?
My first action as a brand new agent is always to set a plan. So you have to have a business plan so that you know exactly what you're going to be executing on each and every day. This is too hard and too emotional to wake up every day trying to figure out what you should be doing. You have to have an actionable plan that you can get up and execute each and every day, regardless of how you feel or what's going on. You know that you have to hit certain activities and certain goals in order to reach your end goal.
If I were to start brand new today, my first few actions would be to learn a lot of language of real estate, be really familiar with financing, and not be a secret agent. I would go out and tell anybody and everybody that I sell real estate and I would want to help them. And I would just hope to get that opportunity.
How are you running your business differently now compared to a year ago?
So I think running my team differently is, again, it's arming yourself with real information. I think there are so many news articles that are national that do not apply at a local level. So I think if we talk to, so for instance, I did just a study, and I think sales were down 20% in our marketplace, but only 1.9% from our office. So that means our office is doing business, and that's a pretty minimal impact. So I let my team know that it's good news, because then I've got roughly 20 of us telling other people that it's good news. So just arming ourselves with information and just believing what's true.
So one of the big things that we're looking at as 2023 approaches is looking and sitting down with each agent individually and seeing where their end goal is, what their fears are, what their goals are, what they want to do, and then how bought in are they? Are they nervous? And so this whole first month of 2023, we've been just sitting down very intimately, one-on-one, which is a lot of meetings when you have 30 plus people to meet with, and just getting the pulse on what's happening, and then looking at restructuring potentially on each person's role based upon their goals, and realizing that not one size fits all. Not everybody wants to wake up and crush it and make it rain, which is totally fine, but at the same time, putting people in places where they're going to thrive. So I think that's a big thing that we're looking at. And then also raising up leaders this year has been a big focus of ours, because a leader of one, or a leader of one is a leader of none. I don't know if that's how it goes, but yeah.
Other than from past clients, how do you get your business?
I would say just my local branding. I've been really big for the past 8 years on building my business and building my name. So just like it'd be, your local grocery store, I want to be that local go-to person. Self-branding, awareness in the community, I think that's huge. I really, really try to stay involved, and it's not just selfishly because I want the business, but because I do want to invest in our community, and I do want to be that resource for people to just call me and say, hey, I've got a home to sell. I know you're my person. Let's make this happen.
How are you coaching your sellers differently in today's market?
I think I'm guiding my sellers differently just by controlling the narrative that they hear. There's definitely a low inventory, so I know nationally people think that it's bad news, but the last statistics were a record low of inventory, and everything that I've listed has sold very quickly and for top dollar. So I just coach them to have the best product. We help them get their home fixed up, sparkly. You can do a lot of really inexpensive things, and then price it accordingly. But right now it's fantastic news, so things aren't really that different. If I do have one that's a little bit unusual, I would add in a rate buy down as part of our marketing. But other than that, I think it's just letting them know that it's really good news.
What is your biggest challenge currently?
My biggest challenge currently is this market. It's an interesting one. So I have a lot of team members that are on the fence. Do I belong in this business? Do I not? And just helping them keep the faith that the business is coming. The one thing that we can do with that is make sure that our activities and our outreach to our database stays top notch. So we're doubling down on everything that we're doing right now. We're doing twice the amount of calls, twice the amount of personal notes. And we know, I'm a man of faith, I'm a Christian, so that I have the same faith that God is there. I have the same faith in my business as well, that if I put in the work, I will get the fruits of my labor.
What advice would you give to a struggling agent?
I think today's market brings so much opportunity. There's a lot of confusion and uncertainty out there. So right now, it's an amazing time for agents to brush up on their skills, be very customer service based, and seriously take advantage of what's at stake. I think that the area right now of market to capture is so high that many agents are just exiting the business. So people can really jump in now and just take advantage of the market and just even get a market share, do a great job, and build a really long-term business.
So I know there's a lot of agents that have joined the industry in the last 3, 4 or 5 years, and it's been great for you. And now we're seeing a shift in the market, and some of that you guys don't know how to respond, and you guys are thinking maybe this is not for me. I would just encourage you on 2 things. The industry in which you generate business has changed. Before, people were just coming out of the woodworks from California, Seattle, and generating business was super easy. But I think that at the end of the day, if you're a brand new agent, surround yourself with people who know what they're doing, whether it's a team or whether it's a group of mentors or a leadership, and make sure that you get under their wing. One of the other factors that people don't take into account, and you always hear agents that have a lot of experience or been in the business a while to tap into their sphere, which are all, even if you're new, those are all great things. But technology nowadays has given the ability that if you have a way to access funds, to tap into some of these lead generation platforms, one thing I definitely recommend is investing back into yourself and back into your business. I would say that don't lose hope, because right now, as the market shifts or you're thinking about getting out, that's when I came in. And honestly, it took on average 6 months to a year to close a transaction when we were doing short sales. And man, it was horrific not getting a paycheck for 6, 7, 8 months, or working on one and then following through. So if I can do it, you definitely can. But once you start building up that pipeline, it'll start hitting. And so I just say keep on keeping on.
You might not like my answer, because you have to be really honest with yourself. And if you're not willing to do what it takes to succeed, then stop making yourself feel bad and living in this shame cycle and not doing it. You just have to at some point understand that you might want to do it, but that doesn't matter. We can wish all we want. Of course, everyone wants it. Few are willing to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, then save yourself the headache and the hassle and the heartache, and just admit that to yourself. If you are willing to do the work, then get clear on what you need to do. Insert necessity and accountability into your life and into your world and into your day, so that you have to show up even on the days that you don't want to for someone. And that's, I think, the biggest thing, is having accountability. Accountability is extremely uncomfortable, but it's what successful people seek out. People who are unsuccessful, they hide from accountability. They don't want to be held accountable. People who want it and they've made that decision, they seek it out. They ask for it.
What are some of your daily non-negotiables?
Oh, daily non-negotiables. Check your emails and answer your phone. There is a huge thing about answering your phone in this business, and unfortunately, there is just so much pie to go around, or there has been, that agents can be lackadaisical with answering their phones and replying to emails and staying professional. If I were to hire someone to help me buy or sell a home, my number one thing would be I want them to communicate with me, and I want them to be available. And if I'm not doing that for someone, then I'm obviously doing something wrong. So have your coffee, do your daily things, but be there for your clients, your future clients, your past clients, your referral partners, and answer your phone and be that person for them.
What do you think the market will look like a year from now?
My thoughts of what the market will look like a year from now, or whatever I put into it now. I know that whatever I do today I'm going to reap benefits tomorrow. So as far as, am I nervous about interest rates going to 12%, down to 2% again? It doesn't matter, because I am the absolute master of my own destination, and I'm making sure that everything that I do is going to benefit my business 1 year from now, 6 months from now, 10 years from now.
What are some changes realtors need to make in order to face the future of the industry?
I think we have to not be afraid of change, because I started in 2002 and I had a Thomas guide. We didn't even have the full RMLS, and every time there's something new, change can be scary, but you have to embrace it. So like for instance, social media. I mean, that has just been incredible to our business, and that's a free thing that most people can take full advantage of. So I think when we hear about discount brokerages or like different companies that will eliminate a realtor, that's just not going to happen. I mean, we may have to adjust our services and prove our value, but people want people. They want to feel like someone has their back, that they're being taken care of. So learn what market trends are and adjust where we need to adjust so that we can help people understand our value as agents.
I think some of the most critical changes that we need to face in order to, as we move forward in this industry, is, you know, for a long time, I think tech was a big push, and I think focusing less on tech. I mean, I think technology is super important, right? It's going to help expedite things, but, you know, AI is obviously now a big, you know, chat topic. But I think one of the big things that we need to really focus on is and bring back to the table is culture. Culture is so important. You could have probably one of the worst, you know, real estate brokerages or teams, but if you guys get along and like family and, you know, it's fun coming into work, I think that you're gonna have a way higher retention rate. I think you're gonna have a way higher production rate. So I think really focusing on culture moving forward in this industry is gonna be vitally important, especially with this new virtual world, not coming into the office. I think there's a time and a place for that, but I think going back to the basics is going to be key.
Is there anything you wished you could do over?
I think starting out in real estate, I just didn't have confidence. And I think the biggest thing I've learned in real estate and life is it's not usually about you, it's about the person that you're talking to. Like, everyone sees things through their own filter. And I was very intimidated by a lot of people that I shouldn't have been intimidated by, because I genuinely cared about all of my clients, which actually probably made me the best agent for the job, just because I simply would take the best care of them, even over myself. And I think having the confidence in who we are and what our strengths are changes everything in our business. Like, whatever it is that we feel intimidated by, we probably don't need to be. So call that top agent and get ideas, call that developer, ask him for the business. Just be fearless, because the worst thing that will happen is they will say no, and the best thing that can happen is they will say yes.
What separates a successful agent from one who is unsuccessful?
I think a successful agent doesn't let themselves off the hook. So an example would be if it's Friday and I have not hit my goals yet, a lot of agents just go, well, I didn't hit my goals this week, I'm gonna try again next week. A successful agent works on the weekend and makes certain that they're gonna hit their targets. And I think a lot of times agents think that they haven't quit because they still have a license and they still show up next week. You quit every day that you do not hit your target. So don't lie to yourself and think that because you're showing up next week or the next day even, like, you quit that day, because you quit and you went home and you hadn't hit your goal. I did not let myself do that. There were some days that I was making calls at 7 p.m. There's a book called Tools of the Titans, and in that book there's an article and it's called The Single Decision. You have to decide that you're going to do it and then do it. You cannot wake up every day trying to negotiate with yourself and you haven't actually decided that you're going to do this. You have a plan B in the back of your head. You're trying this out to see if it works, and you have to stop letting yourself off the hook. And I think the last few years especially, I've really noticed a trend, you know, on social media and whatnot, where there's this thing about, like, do what makes you happy. I did not love making cold calls. I hated door knocking. I still hate door knocking. I wanted to create a life and change my life and my family's life, and I was willing to do the hard things in order to make that happen. I think that if I only did what I felt good about and what made me happy, I would literally be just, like, I don't know, on a beach in Mexico. I wouldn't be here. So I think that if you do hard things, you can have and create a really good life for yourself. If you only do easy things or only do what you feel like doing, then you have a hard life, because you can't live out your hopes and dreams, and you can't provide a life for your family and your kids, and it just perpetuates from there. So you can be comfortable, but hopefully you're happy with where you are, because you're not going to get anywhere else by staying in your comfort zone.
How do you instill leadership and common values among your agents?
One of the things with having a brokerage of so many people, you have your people that are already doing super well, you have your people that are emerging, and then you have what's called raw talent. And the big key as far as leadership goes in our brokerage is raising up leaders. And there are agents that have gotten to a point in their career where they've maybe built a team and they can produce, but may not be at the status of being an actual leader. And that's where we really focus on. And I think the key is servant leadership. There's all sorts of different types of leadership. Back in the 80s, they called it management. Now it's called leadership. And so being in a leadership role is important, but being a servant leader where it's not you up top whipping the whip and having them pull you, it's you out in front, down in the trenches with them. And I think that those are the ways that you raise up leaders, is you lead by example. You're out there, you're making calls, whatever industry you're in, it doesn't matter. But there are a lot of people out there who think that because they're good salespeople, that they would make good leaders. And that's not necessarily true. It takes a lot of selflessness. It takes a lot of, and if you are thinking about stepping up and being a leader and running a team, I've seen a lot of people start them and I've seen a lot of people fail them. It's going to take sacrifice. It's going to take time. You may lose personal production at first, or personal time, and you're going to be investing in these people, and it's a risk because, as you know, in this industry or every industry, retention is cyclical. So you may raise them up to be the best, and they may leave. So my best advice to you is make a platform so big that it doesn't make sense for them to leave. And servant leadership, I think, is the way to do it. So that would be my advice as far as raising up leaders and how we plan on doing it in the years to come and have continued doing it.
How in the world did you sell 52 homes in your first year in real estate?
I came into the business and someone asked me, what are your goals? And I had never set goals before. And so I said, what is the most a solo agent could do, not a new solo agent, but a solo agent without an assistant? And the response was probably around 4 units per month, and you would start to tap out. So I said, all right, that's my goal. In order to sell 52 homes, I knew that I had to really maximize every lead generation lever that I could. So I did work my sphere of influence. I did open houses. I did for sale by owners. I did expireds and canceleds. I did door knocking. I did everything that I could that was free. My first listing was a for sale by owner, and that client did end up referring me multiple family members and friends and neighbors. So you never know, one connection can lead to so many more. And there were listing appointments that I went on in my first year with expireds where I was competing against really qualified, experienced agents, and I did not get those listings. But what I did get was I got a relationship, and I kept in touch with that person, and I did end up getting referrals. A couple years later, maybe they had a bad experience with that agent, maybe that agent didn't keep in touch with them. For whatever reason, I still focused on the relationship, and I maintained that no matter whether I signed the listing or not.
What are your goals moving forward?
Yeah, I think that in Brendon Burchard's book, he has a book called High Performance Habits, and he talks about creating necessity. And successful people do have an innate necessity. Like for me, it was necessary for me to succeed at executing my plan and reaching my goal. As you get far enough away from pain, right? So I wanted to create this life. I got far enough away and into a life that was comfortable, where I saw myself going. Well, I could have stopped there, but instead I have to add things into my life that will continue to create necessity. And one of the ways that I've done that is I have brought people into my life that depend on me to show up and to continue to evolve as a leader, as a human, and by having people depending on me, then that's what keeps me motivated. I don't always feel motivated, but I have to show up because they are expecting my A game.
Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed Agent Panel number 2, and please let us know if you have any questions for our next discussion. And as always, remember to KFA.